and play. Good and bad. Right and wrong. Honor. Tradition. A good brew. And most especially, family. These are the things that bring me balance. These are the things I fight for.
A day of unexpected results so far as Team Liquid is down to Expert 2-1. Expert definitely eating their Wheaties today.
Yeah, they've definitely done that. Expert is ahead. They are super close to make a victory against one of the big three teams happening here in Europe.
Which would mean so much to Expert. Again, in most of their series, they've won 3-0, but it's always been against lesser teams. In the top three, they've gone to Game 5s multiple times. They've even been losing 3-0 or 3-1 in the past, but Expert has been wanting to prove themselves so much in the top three. And with them being the definite number 4 seed here, this would be a big statement for them. Let's figure out which battleground we're going to, as they are on the cusp here of locking down Team Liquid with a 3-1.
Expert takes it 2 Towers of Doom. And yeah, in this moment, I'm actually wondering a little bit if now Team Liquid is able to win this, if they are going to take it to Cursed Hollow, which has traditionally been a very strong battleground for them. But of course, we are going through TOD first. It's rough, it's rough. Being Liquid right now, being a Liquid fan out there is definitely difficult. You have watched them already go down against Fnatic and against, of course, Dignitas. You've seen them struggle against playing Ducks and against Tricked. Now they are behind against Expert. So this is definitely Western Clash. They didn't do as well as they were hoping for. They, in their own opinion, underperformed. It's a rough time for them right now.
Western Clash on, it's been a little bit on the rough side, but if anyone can come out of it just fine, it is Team Liquid. We do know they have the capabilities. We can't ever count them out, so let's go into it. Things to think about. Zeratul, Medivh on this battleground are great, fantastic, especially when played by Team Expert. Also, for the other side, Vikings in the mix-up.
Definitely something we could see. First of all, it is eliminating Greymane. Greymane has been a staple for Expert in this series all the time. In the early game in particular, we've seen them engage with the Nubarak and with Greymane. Now, Abathur being picked. Interesting, considering the Greymane pick, because usually Abathur with Greymane works quite well. But what has Expert done so far? Greymane and Nubarak as their first rotation whenever they had the opportunity to do that, and it works really well for them. These Underking engagements, thanks to the increased range on the level 4 for Nubarak, are fantastic for them. Following it up with the damage potential on Greymane has definitely earned them a lot of kills, so Liquid is trying to shut that down, but they still have the Abathur on the map now.
Abathur on the map, you have to worry about that late game pressure that could be coming your way as it continues to push. Always great with auto-attackers too. There's also the Zul'jin Abathur that has been mixed in by Dignitas in particular, but we have seen many teams run it as well. And then, of course, you have always the pressure that's coming your way. The Locusts at 13-16, if they want to get picked up, are great, but the W build was always good. No, never pick them up.
That is an A build that you're currently quoting.
That is an NA build. The best NA build. The Vikings are instantly responded to for Expert.
Wow.
And
oh my god.
Who plays the Vikings for Expert?
Who plays everything for Expert?
DRD. It's coming your way. And then we get the Zeratul 2, which we talked about that, but a thorough confidence pulling in here, and we're about to go full push potential between our teams, and Zeratul is going to be a threat, man. When you have the Vikings floating around, he can get those picks.
Okay, there's a couple of things. First of all, Locust builds are not a thing anymore. They have been a thing in the past, and they were incredibly strong. Right now, there's different builds that you can use on Abathur, but that is definitely not a big theme anymore. The value that you get out of it is usually not on the level that it was in present days. But that being set aside, Abathur's weakness is his early game. Vikings can capitalize on that to a certain regard, but even they usually thrive more towards the late game. But picking up the Vikings plus Zeratul is putting an incredible amount of pressure onto Abathur. Because first of all, it's not only that you are facing Vikings on those lanes that all of a sudden can try and kill you, you are finding yourself in a spot where that Zeratul is going to hunt you down. And oh boy, this game is getting a lot of fun. So we are having Varian and Illidan being picked by Liquid. They're throwing down the gauntlet here. They're doubling down on what they already have. And this is usually the map where we see the most hunt being played out of all Illidans.
Wow. So you have two amazing hat targets here between the Varian and the Illidan.
Yes.
Both are just great for Abathur to hop onto. Varian in the early game mostly because he gets to engage. He's able to sit around and be defensive and just getting free poke the entire time. And then Illidan, when you give him the attack speed, do you go attack speed here with level 4 because you have an Illidan and just let him go crazy?
You should definitely go for that.
Let's go full hat build here and just let him go aggressive. Jaina now will be the ban out for Team Experts.
But this is the perfect example where you don't go for 13 and 16 Locust, because you want to make sure that either your frontliner in form of Varian or an Illidan get the support. The 13 talent alone, the Soma Transference, is just so powerful to keep you alive in these team fights, and then later on having the slow increases your chase potential, and it also, of course, allows you to get the rest of your team in. If you have someone that can capitalize on it with any form of executioner, that's even better. But this is exactly what we're seeing usually. We're seeing either a build that is focused on stopping rotations from the opponent by going into toxic nests, or more so these days we are seeing a focus back onto the symbiote. Sometimes with a couple of adjustments that you can make on the earlier levels where you're just saying, all right, maybe on this map we still need a bit of a hybrid build, but that's usually the thought process behind it. Having these push builds with Abathur, with his Locust, just doesn't work anymore to the extent it did in the past. It got nerfed a couple of times, and we have the games being way more aggressive. It was also a bit of a meta issue, because since we are playing more and more against Korean and Chinese teams, one of the things that most Western teams have learned is if you play that style, your opponent will punish you early on when you are weak and not allow you to go into that late game where the build really unfolds all its strength.
All Team Expert hoping to lock down Illidan here as they grab Arthas and Uther. Now you have a stun, you have heals with armor, you have Arthas, who is just great. You pop the E the moment that Illidan even comes in. If you make a step towards him, he suddenly has to retreat away from the fight. So Team Expert has a lockdown. They are kind of lacking a little bit of damage, so we'll probably need that in the 5th slot, but their control so far is pretty solid.
I mean, think about what we're seeing here. Arthur's with the slows, the slow on the attack speed. Uther stun. Arthur's locked down with a Howling Blast. Zeratul Void Prison. The Vikings in the meantime sitting there. Team Liquid is all in on this right now.
Yeah.
They, from the get-go, have said, okay, we are going to bring the pain, and they have to showcase this now. They have a Lunara in the back. Zeratul is going to do his best to pressure Lunara, and even a Karazim being set up just so you can jump in even further and pressure the damage on a single target. This is them really... This is an all-in comp on their end. Yeah,
they are looking to get their fights. They don't mind even going in for Mercenary Camp Invades as well here. Lunara is someone that we saw with the Chinese scene a few months ago, but it's been picked up a couple times here in Europe. You're able to get that damage going in while Illidan is just dancing around. And if you finally find that breaking point, Illidan can start getting kills.
Normally, I would also say Lunara can really capitalize on a lot of the things here by going for the unfair advantage on level 13 for a bit of damage boost. The problem that I'm seeing now with this is that Greater Spell Shield looks incredibly tempting, considering that you have a Zeratul that is just going to attempt to blow you up with a combo.
Yeah.
And especially after potential level 20 when he has his rewind, that makes him even more scary. So we're probably not going to see that capitalization on Zeratul, sorry, on Abathur's level 16 with a slow and the other slows that Varian, for example, can provide, just simply because it would leave Lunara too vulnerable. So Greater Spell Shield is probably going to be the option here. And Cassia, a bit as a counter to what Expert currently sees on the map here. They are not even adding a single ranged hero here. Well, I guess they have Eric and Balog, so that's already a power play right there. But outside of the Vikings, they don't have any ranged.
I mean, you handle Illidan really well there. There's even to a point, if you keep moving with Cassia, you can ignore the Illidan and apply damage to Lunara, get her out of the fight, and then you can turn around and actually deal with the Illidan. This is actually a really good pick here. At a spot for the first time that I feel like Cassia actually makes sense in her picks here for HGC Europe. She's so good in a situation that's here. And Lunara also, before she actually starts to apply any damage, it's actually auto attack damage that comes out from her too. So again, you get that negated.
This... It's an awesome comp to look at. I mean, we have Vikings on one side, Abathur on the other, a full all-in comp for Team Liquid with Varian, Illidan, Karazim even. They want to dive deep and create space for Lunara. Then you have Expert running the Zeratul here. And again, just to remind you quickly out there, we actually have them picking the Lunara into the Zeratul, not the other way around. Not Expert looking at Lunara and saying, how can we actually jump her? How do we get the damage in? It's also one of the reasons why Liquid, for example, banned out Greymane. But these two comps colliding, this is going to be incredibly sexy. And to be honest with you, Liquid just went all in with this. They said all or nothing. Either we crash and burn and Expert is rolling over us, or we dominate the game.
And I'm excited because the old Abathur actually used to have a really hard time dealing with Lunara pressure. I want to know if new Abathur can still handle it. He still has mana problems and such, but maybe the armor might be enough. Let's figure it out here as we go into game number 4. Towers of Doom. Expert hoping to get a 3-1 over Team Liquid, while Team Liquid just wants to get themselves in a tie so they can go to game number 5.
Team Liquid is down 1 game in the best of 5 series. It's a 1-2 score, and we see them doubling down with the aggression, all or nothing. They go for an all-in comp with Splendor on Karazim, Blumby on the Varian, Hazorbs on the Slugger, playing Abathur, Darkmog again on Illidan. And we have Norog on the only backline damage dealer. It is Lunara playing Bambi.
Team Expert on the right in the red. Curson will be showing off the Abathur. We'll see how he handles that Lunara and her pressure. Bad Benny on Arthas. ADRD on Vikings. We're going to have a Thorough Angel on Zeratul. Whew, watch out for that one, Team Liquid. And Nick will be on Cassia.
And there's also a few things to talk about immediately as the game starts. So we talk about a lot the early game weakness of Abathur oftentimes because of that 1 hit point bar you are missing. Splendor already being attacked here, but Abathur, this is something where the Vikings getting you a little bit of extra value in the early game, but of course a lot of that pressure comes in the late game when they can push out these lanes even harder. But as we're talking about the Vikings, let's take a quick look at what ADRD is already doing here. He's not going for the normal build that we see so many times these days. He is making a slight adjustment on level 1 already with the explosive attacks, speccing more into Balog. And that usually indicates that he is going to go down that path even a little bit more. Could go for the Pain Don't Hurt on level 4. And one of the thought process behind it is that you have, especially with Balog, more pushing power on the lane itself, but you also can take camps on the map a lot easier.
Camps on the map, split pushing here for Balog. We're going to watch for that to see how that pops out. Narok in the bottom lane, pushing in Olaf. Zeratul, though, coming in for a potential flank. He has both Splendor and Narok to look at. He goes in, misses a Singularity Spike, though, which will be the end of that game.
Yeah, that could have been a kill against Lunara if he hits that. The slow alone would have helped with it. But already, line against Lunara. Bad Benny is suffering a bit of damage. Fen comes in, Splendor low.
Ooh, he barely lives there from the Singularity Spike damage.
That was... he had no hit points left. I am not sure how he survived that, but that was close. Too close for comfort.
The Vikings now will be in a spot here to help out with the tributes that will be spawning the altars. There's one in the bottom here to the top, one on the left and one on the right. Illidan is now grabbing his bricks on the top right, but ADRD will sniff that out. Zeratul, Cassia, and Arthas heading up there, and they can actually take the opportunity to steal those away.
Olaf down here has been found out. Blumby is together with Splendor getting the kills, so they're getting those slowly and steadily. But yeah, as I said, we have now Balog specced in, so he's trying to take those camps already early on, and Balog is going to have a much bigger impact on this. Shots fired on both sides thus far, and up to the top there's another temple, another altar that can be taken, and we already have one of the Vikings on point as Team Liquid is rotating in.
Team Liquid is rotating in, Illidan in the top, and Team Liquid looks to be able to grab both of the altars. They got the one in the bottom, but the push in from Expert is get them a slight lead here, as we have a 4.5 to 4. Team Liquid again getting the first couple of shots. Now Illidan's in the top lane dealing with that Balog, but Team Expert sets up for a gank. They focus down Splendor.
Splendor is stunned. He was willing to just wait a moment and then dash back, but he gets taken out here. So this is of course a game where again we have to stress the importance of Vikings and also Abathur. Both of them getting a lot of momentum towards the late game, Vikings in particular. This is just absolutely crazy. And yeah, as we see the tweets coming in here, I'm loving this meta too. You can say what you want, but those games have been very entertaining. You guys are, of course, always welcome to join the conversation. Hashtag HGC, tweet out at Heroes Esports, and we are definitely interested to see what you guys have to say, because today was crazy.
That it was. I mean, let's just think about it. The first game we had an Alarak, second game we had a Probius, the third game we had pretty much more standard stuff, but we had, of course, the Ragnaros versus the Zebo that life, and now here we have Abathur versus the Vikings. Too fun indeed. Bad Benny, though, being died upon as Darkmoss going in for some kills. Nick shows up to help out in the fight.
Darkmog with the Abathur support here is moving in. We should still see on Karazim later on the Palm with the current comp that is being used here. He's definitely going to need that once that we are seeing Lunara targeted, but I would still expect the greater spell shield on level 13, even if Karazim goes Palm over the potential unfair advantages, simply because of the damage output that someone like Zeratul can pressure out on the squishies.
It feels like an auto pick, honestly, with Lunara. You just don't want to deal with that pressure comes your way. Bad Benny is taking some damage on the left, but not in a spot to where he's actually going to be picked off. I do kind of wonder, do we go for Divine Palm or do we go for 7-sided strike here just to get rid of Arthas?
I mean, as I just said, I think it's going to be the Divine Palm, just simply because you want to keep Lunara alive here. So that on top of this Raider spell is going to help her out. The problem is that you are trying to really drive the fights, you're trying to gain the momentum there, and once you lose Lunara, a lot of your damage is simply gone, and that's a huge problem. Abathur, of course, can help out with it, but I think having the Lunara there is more or less crucial. And blowing up the Arthurs, there's too many heroes that can move into that. Against the Vikings in particular, the 7-sided is starting to lose a lot of its value.
Dark Monk moving in here, the Abathur hat being very effective so far. Dark Monk with the evasion does retreat. Blumby is holding that choke very well, especially with the aid of Nurok. Abathur can slow down this grab here, but they decide not to do so as the Abathur hat and Varian with the aid of Lunara will just chunking Expert.
And Splenda going full boss mode here, zoning out the singularity spike potential. Zeratul not even going in for this because he knew fully well that he would be turned upon immediately. So great moves here on the side of Splendor too against the still invisible Zeratul. The Vikings soaking the experience on all of the lanes as Team Liquid is aiding aggressive and aggressive. It is an all-in comp. They need to make these moves. They cannot give Expert an edge. Once that Expert is starting to roll with the momentum, Liquid is farther and farther behind. So right now, Liquid is making all the right moves. Expert is behind on the points on the core, but let's not forget, this is a map where you can always come back.
Bad Benny and crew are invading here. They're moving in. Illidan will dive on top of the Arthas, have his attack speed slowed down for now. A Thorough Angel has not found an opening to move in yet.
Nick
finally does reveal himself. Members are getting low. Darkbuck gets focused down. Nick turns around with the Fin and also kills Varian.
Varian is down and so is Illidan. It was so close. It looked like Cassia would fall, but she doesn't. The Ring of Leech on level 4, of course, helping her with the sustain too. An Expert has shown already how strong their own comp can be. It looked close for a few seconds, but then in the end, it's Expert who walks away with a victory. And also now, a massive lead in experience. Once again, they are already on level 10, and they have a lot of tools available here.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised to not see the stun on Uther on 10 now.
Divine Storm to control that Illidan. We'll see if it comes out, especially with the aid of Void Prison. You can set up the Wombo combos, a lot of the tools being available for Expert. They grab the Mercenaries in the bottom left, which gets some pressure in. No fort has fallen quite yet, though, for Team Liquid as they defend relatively well. Now, with the Altars activating in 20 seconds, Team Liquid will have 10 themselves. So watch out for the taunts, watch out for the Metamorphosis, and watch out for Lunara.
Also, more adjustments coming on the side of Team Expert with the Vikings. We have Eric the Swift on level 10, so Eric can heal himself. And the Norse Force on level 7, dropping the spin to win, which we see for Wave Player oftentimes. So gaining the extra shield. 10s are in now, and we have on the side of Uther his ult as chosen as we once again have the move in, this time on Nick. Nick is low, Splendor moves in too. They're trying to drop him here, but here comes the Divine Storm and Karazim is dead.
They dive on Nick, but the heals there from Uther too much, as well as the trait from Nick. They're turning around, they're looking at Blumby. Blumby's hoping to live here. He's proccing there with the parry. Can he kill Nick? The other hat comes out. He brings out the blind, and Nick gets the kill. We're going to have some major pickups there from a Team Expert as they set up. Now the Leaping Strike comes out. They're able to pick off an Olaf, but that doesn't matter too much. I do also want to note there is Viking boats picked up for Expert.
Yeah, they have the boat, so the boat is in this time, not trying to simply set anything up with a play again. But yeah, this armor coming out of Uther is definitely rough to deal with at this point on the side of Team Liquid. They are starting to fall behind in the kill count. 0 kills against 5 as we speak already. And yeah, it's just the Eternal Devotion coming in, Uther helping out to save these targets. 7-sided still being used for Karazim. Interesting to see that. I really expected the Divine Palm for the safety on the frontliners, especially since, of course, Illidan is going to need that. So let's see how that's going to work out for them. Do you get enough damage through the Divine Palm, so through the 7-sided, that it's worth it in these fights?
If you can get on Arthas, again, it could be good there. Try and burn him down, but he does have the Army of the Dead. If Uther is able to save him with a clutch heal, I do agree it'll be hard for them to get that kill. There are options. 13, maybe you move into the Giant Killer, but again, that greater spell shield that you've been talking about the entire time. Too much of a necessity against the Zeratul. Now, let's talk about the overall map. It's 32-24. Team Liquid still has the lead in terms of core damage, but Team Expert is starting to walk away with these team fights, and with one Ultra spawning at the bottom, we could have more action coming here, and Expert starts to get on the scoreboard. Yeah,
Expert needs to get on the scoreboard. They are behind right now when it comes to the points on the core. I'm still questioning the 7-sided strike choice, and I might be wrong on this, of course, but if you consider how the talent works, it's a bit weird to see it here. it basically spreads out the damage over all the targets that are in the area and deals percentage damage to the targets hit based on their max HP. If the Vikings are part of the conversation, how much value do you get out of this? This is a great pick for Liquid, but I'm still thinking if you get isolation kills with the 7-side, and yes, by all means, it's a great talent to go for, but in team fights against the Viking composition, it seems a bit odd.
We'll see if it shapes out for him. Team Liquid has a plan here, see if they can pull it off. The Divine Storm does come out. Hostiles being broken down. Nick low on health. He finally gets stunned there and will be taken out. Nurok jumps in, putting damage on Curson and Bad Bunny, and they are forced to move away.
They are moving away, but this is not where Liquid stops. If they have the Illidan with the Abathur head, they're going in for the kill on the Bell Tower, and they're doing this well. They got the kills, one against Zeratul, the other one against Cassia, so they are gaining that momentum that they need. Greater Spell Shield is in play now for Lunara as expected, and there's so much transference on Abathur alone for Illidan. This is a game changer already. The 13 talent is an incredible power spike against the composition that Expert is using. Normally we're talking about especially the 16 to hit really hard, but in this case with the comp that they're running, the 13 alone is already fantastic. Just look on Karazim. The 13 is helping him out against a lot of these stuns because he has been targeted in the fights. Then you have also the Soma Transference. Abathur is going to make it so much easier for Illidan to stay alive right now. The Greater Spell Shield, there's so many things working for Liquid at this point. But Expert, they have shown how strong their comp is, especially when Curson gets the stun lock in.
And they also just had a bit of a spike here too with Frozen Waste being finished up. If Illidan gets hit by that Frozen Waste, his attack speed, movement speed will stay on the reduction for 1.5 seconds. So Bad Bunny will be keeping an eye out for that Illidan when he has the chance here. Now we are in the 3 ultras activating phase here once again. Now a Thorough Angel, remember, did lose out on Void Prison earlier. It's up in 3 seconds, so all should be good, but we're gonna need a big flank here from him to be effective.
There's the kill again against one of the Vikings. So ADRD having a bit of a rough time soaking the experience, but Zeratul moving to the bottom, dropping the bell tower, and that is also cutting off the retreat path for Liquid. That was a very smart move by Zeratul and Team Expert, because now Team Liquid will have to really think about moving back and reclaiming it, or they could end up in a very awkward spot. But at least they get a couple of shots in before they have to deal with the situation.
Angel stops Dark Mark on the top left. There is one lone altar still available. Team Expert making a bit of play here, actually, stopping the altar to force members of Team Liquid to move up to make sure they secure that, and that opens up them the possibility to kill off this bell tower in the bottom right.
Splendor at the bot lane is going in. There's the 7-sided once again, but Expert trying to turn it around. Splendor low and goes down. Blumby also about to fall. Bit of a questionable decision here by Team Liquid. Definitely nerves playing a role here, of course, as well. We've been talking about it. And now shots fired once again. Liquid picking up another altar. Yes, they have a rough time in the team fights, but they still are ahead. 24 against 16. The big advantage for Expert, of course, is that at least for a few more seconds they hold an additional bell tower, but Lunara is already hard at work to change that.
A Thorough Angel keeps using these Void Prisons to try to lock down the Lunara while she's sleeping striking, and so far Lunara has been quite lucky to get out of those fights. 16 to 15 for Team Expert. As you mentioned though, 24 to 16. Our game is incredibly close right now, especially with Team Liquid grabbing the bell tower on the bottom left. It's 4 to 4 for each shot. Bad Bunny though moving in here, looking for Dark Mock. Can he get damage on him? He slows him down, follows up the Howling Blast, Metamorphosis from Dark Mock. Yeah, Dark was trying to hold back the ult for as long as he possibly could, but then in the end he had to use it anyways. So goes for that. And Expert is all of a sudden aiming for a boss here. Moves past it though. It was a bit of a risky move because Team Liquid just hit 16. They would have been happy to take that fight. Yes, they would have, especially with Void Prism being down. They would have moved in instantly here. Now, we still have yet to have the Vikings use their Viking boat. I do mention level 20. The upgrade for that allows it to be pretty darn scary with the DPS being increased by 100%, 2 shots at a time coming out from the longboat. So hopefully we'll see that upgrade at 20 and Team Expert's team fight will go up dramatically at that point too. 16 to 17 as we are moving into late game. Team Liquid with a slight lead, and they're moving in on Bad Bunny. Yeah, they're going in. We are seeing once more Nurok just jumping away here for now. They're trying to turn this around, slowing the opponent. Vikings still split on the map. But Liquid, as we said before, they need to deliver damage. They want to run this. They really want to gain the momentum with this composition. They always are a little bit behind in experience because of the Vikings, but we already have now the Way of 1,000 Fists taken for Karazim, so more damage on point, and Abathur continuing with a full support build for his team, having the extra slows now added to his arsenal. Two ultra spawning in 5 seconds, one in the middle, one in the bottom. Balog has taken the opportunity to push in top, and in fact, the Vikings are starting to rotate in down to this fight here. 7-side strike has been used. Bad Benny does survive. We're having Varian locked down. Illidan's coming in for a rotation to maybe get into the fight here. We're going to have Nurok jumping in with a leaping strike. Bad Benny getting low on health, but still surviving.
Team Liquid gives up both of the altars. The Vikings channeling them. They want the kills. They want the momentum. They want to have that opportunity right now. Zeratul is using his Void Prison to just escape as Illidan is jumping in. The boat is already being used on the side of the Vikings. We have Uther dropping on the other hand. He gets those heals in the Ghost form, but again, Lunara is trying to close the distance. Illidan with the Metamorphosis is about to move out. Abathur Angel is able to get the kill. He's getting another one. Lunara is down as well. Uther, the only victim on Expert. And how did Abathur Angel survive and get these kills? He was about to die when he had to drop a panic Void Prison and turns it around and gets these kills in. Incredible play from him this weekend.
Incredible play from him, but also watch the Viking boat in this fight. So here we go on the right side. You're going to see Darkmonk chasing down Abathur Angel. The heal comes out, so the armor is helpful in this fight. Nick continues to keep escaping as well. Abathur jumps, drops down the Void Prison to lock down Illidan. He also taps it well, gets to the spot where he can get his clone back up. The boat, look at the boat here. It's just shredding away on everybody here. Darkmonk's getting low on health. The meta gets popped. Abathur goes in with Singularity Spike, brings out the damage, and then on this left side, the boat finishes off Lunara.
Lunara down, and this is a disaster for Liquid. Liquid gave up 2 altars for this. They deliberately said, screw the altars, give the altars to the Vikings, we take them out right now, we get 2-3 kills, then we take the bell tower at the bottom, we take boss at the top, and we gain momentum on the map, and we close the gap in experience. They said it's worth it for us, and then they lose both of the altars, and they also lose the fight, and they lose the boss.
And Team Expert takes a lead, 16-12 in damage, 20-18 here. Expert's gonna rotate to the bottom with an ultra spawning in 15 seconds. If you're Team Liquid, you've gotta give this up.
Liquid is in a really, really tough spot now. That fight was crucial for them. It looked really strong at the beginning, but then it turned against them fast. And now we have the Vikings with the 20, the Ragnar rock and roll. So the longbow heavily increasing its damage output. They're seeing such a massive lead experience, and the Vikings are just going to keep pushing. Another altar taken. Not really well timed for Expert. That could have been another point.
They just wanted to get the map running there. They knew Team Liquid was running the top right corner to kill off the bell tower, and they want to be able to force a fight as soon as possible. They're rotating in here. We're going to see Durok and Darkmonk starting to move out for the retreat, but there's always a fear of a Void Prison coming out and starting the fight for Expert.
The adrenaline is definitely pumping for Liquid right now. They know that they are in a really awkward spot. They are down a game in the series. Expert, they've been talking about defeating the big three for a long time. 8 points on the core for Liquid, 16 for Expert. Expert in the lead with a 2-1. Down to the bot lane. The attempt to recapture the bell tower. They're doing whatever they can here, and the rotations of Expert are still ongoing. Team Liquid is doing everything they can to simply get more experience.
Curse and a crew are rotating in. They've been grabbing as many mercenaries as they can. Team Liquid knows they're at the Merc camp. They're going to start clearing it out and get that push bottom. Even the Vikings are rotating in. They know a fight is nigh here.
Yeah, they definitely do. Redemption, of course, also taken on the side of Uther, so dropping him is not going to do you any favors in these situations. Who's the target then? Zeratul would be great if they can get the drop, if they can get Arthur's, but how? Getting the armor, having the Legion of Northrend here, the upgrade on 20, how do you kill these people?
Scary. And that is the question that Team Liquid has to answer here. Level 20 meta available for Illidan, possibly there to get that attack speed going for his team. All of Team Expert is staying near each other, ready for this fight. Abathur Angel has spotted Nurok. There's going to be a big poison coming out. Nurok goes in. Gonna have Abathur Angel trading out the damage. Greater Spell Shield has been popped.
Transgression for Charism on the 20. Also, of course, now Hive Mind for Abathur. But how do you kill Team Expert? Look at this comp. We have Uther with his trade, granting the armor the entire time. They heals. He has Redemption as well. The Legion of Northrend for Arthur's. Then Cassia, dropping her alone is going to be tricky. Team Liquid, they have to find a way. They have to find a way somehow. They're going to move in once more. The start immediately against Darkmonk. Uther trying to lock him down. Transgression being used. And Benny barely gets away there. So close to dropping the tank. But even with a 20, no kill. The boat is out. And they still start engaging. And they need to get out of there. The copy on the Nara is already about to get in. Curson with a stun attempt misses it. But Blumby, oh god, parry saves him.
Illidan does get away from here. The boat's destroying in that fight. So much damage coming out. And now ADRD on one lone Viking will grab the altar, and they will be awarded 4 more points, which will drop down Team Liquid 2-4. We're going to have Darkmark charging in, the taunt popping out. Nick has been locked down. Blumpy low on health. A massive Void Prison pops here.
Void Prison is in. Void Prison, they're trying to drop it immediately off behalf of Lunara, jumping out of it. The kill against Varian, though. Varian is down. Liquid on the ground. Team Expert, they don't care. They kick them still. Once again, Transgression being used. The kill finally. Cassia is down. Arthas is down. But the immediate turnaround as Kazim and Illidan are buried into the ground.
Abathur comes in looking for Nurok, does not get him. Lunara will live for now, but the mercenaries are up for grabs, and this is where the Vikings excel. They can grab these Vikings, these mercenaries, get them pushing into the bottom, start breaking more bell towers. We're going to have another fight relatively soon here for our teams, but Expert is on a cushion lead, 16-4.
And we only have 4 points left on the core, and that's an issue. Up at the top, a bell tower has been captured. That's actually massive for Liquid. There's only 3 towers now on the side of Expert. But Boss is, of course, at some point going to respawn as well. 20 seconds, and that is going to be a massive point of contention. Liquid got the double kill, and Transgression on the side of Karazim was actually helping. We could have seen Arthas fall at the beginning of the fight, even he barely moved out of the radius, or he would have been dropped. Liquid, they need to gain momentum, and they need to do it fast, and they need to win a massive team fight, or this is lights out. Altar spawning soon, it's a double altar. Vikings, Viking value, right there.
Vikings can sneak one of these altars. There's always a chance, too, for Team Expert to move in for a boss on the top if they think that Team Liquid is not near it. However, with 2 altars being up, you don't want to go for that route. You want to use the power of the Vikings as much as you can. A Thorough Angel will be the one to start moving forward for the team. Void Prison is available, so is the Viking boat.
You need to make sure they're not getting lost on the way. They need to find one of these altars here. They have Liquid moving in. They're even trying to take the camp. But down to the bottom, they need to make that engage happen. Eric is already attempting to sneak in at the side.
Wait,
Void Prison, and
that's game. Wow, Team Expert with an anti-combatic win. The Void Prison to clutch it out. Team Liquid has been beaten by Expert, the 4th place team.
Liquid has fallen once again. The second part of the season, incredibly rough. A bare 2-3 victory against Trick, just barely edging out a win against the Playing Ducks, losing to Dignitas, losing to Fnatic, and now taken down by Team Expert. At the end, Illidan trying to take a camp, trying to provide some momentum, Eric sneaking in from the side, and at the same time, Void Prison being used to allow Olaf to get the capture through. An all-in composition for Team Liquid at the end, all or nothing. And it's Expert that walk away with the victory.
It's been a hard week for Team Liquid, that is for sure, the last 7 days. But kudos to Expert. Expert has taken out the number 3 seed here. Nice pickup for them. Again, they want to prove they can be in the top 3, and they just did so there, especially with an oddball comp. The Vikings being picked up here with a longboat raid. Cassia and her first win in the HGC being shown off by Expert. And what other team to do it here, especially against Team Liquid?
Yeah, Liquid is really impressive. It doesn't change the standings in this situation for Expert. It changes a lot for Team Liquid. Not only do they now have no chance whatsoever to make it into first place, so they have to play in the playoffs. But at the same time, it's also a situation in which Liquid has a bit of an identity crisis as a team.
Yeah, suddenly this first 10 games, they're 10-0. They can do completely well here. And then now the last couple of rotations, it's been so off for them. They need to figure out what's going on. Is there a meta slip-up going on? Is communication a little bit off overall? Are they not feeling well? Or is the other team really starting to rise that heavy? I mean, we are in an HGC league now. Experts getting more practice than they've ever had overall. They're getting these weekly matches constantly. And are we starting to see what that work transcends to when we come into, what, week 9 here? Like, it's actually incredible to see Expert getting these wins.
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, we had a 10-0, and now they lost 3 in a row. So this is definitely a blow to the confidence of Team Liquid. And of course, they have now time to prepare for the playoffs. They can still make it to the mid-season brawl, but they have to really take a very hard look at themselves and say, okay, guys, what's the issue right now? Didn't we not adapt to the meta fast enough? Usually we're the ones known to figure out the meta super fast. Do we have coordination problems here? What's the issue? What do we need to change to make sure that in the playoffs we are just absolutely on point of our A game and can take down teams not only like Expert, but also Dignitas or Fnatic, depending on who ends up in the second spot.
Yeah, and it's important for Team Liquid to do well here in the playoffs. They want to have that second spot because they've mentioned that they want to go to these tournaments, these brawls, these clashes as much as they can because they think it's important for them. They want to start winning those, and they have yet to do so here in 2017. That was their #1 goal.
Also, one of the things to note in this regard, when we're talking about going to something like the mid-season brawl, this is not only one of those things where you say, hey, we want to play on like an international stage. When Team Liquid made it first to an international event, when they made it to Korea, that was at the beginning of last year, of 2016, they were the team where a lot of other teams argued they got lucky. They just got lucky. They didn't really deserve to be there. They played a good tournament, but in the end, this is really one of those comps they're probably not really going to do well. And then all of a sudden, they went there and they said, hey, we learned so much. They played against the Koreans. They played against the Chinese. They scrimmed with them. And they just learned so much about the game that they came back and said, guys, this is actually awesome for us. We learned a lot here. We have a completely different approach, not only to the meta, but also our own training, how we schedule that. And from that point on, they got so much better because they took all these lessons and translated that into it. So going to one of these events is also a lot about how much you can learn, how you can improve, and just growing as a team and getting this experience.
Well, let's check out the standings here and see where our teams currently are sitting after that loss for Team Liquid. They are still in 3rd spot here, 10-3. Team Expert still in 4th place with 7-6. But Team Dignitas, gotta feeling pretty happy with that. If they can earn a victory on Sunday, suddenly Fnatic and Dignitas are wrestling for those spots, and also Dignitas wants to make sure that they grab that second spot for the playoffs. It is so crazy to me to think that we're going to go to the midseason brawl and the top 3 won't be there. Only 2 of them can go.
In theory, of course, there is still a chance for Team Liquid to make a #1 spot. I was a little early on calling it. There's no way anymore. But for that to happen, we would need to see something like Synergy taking down Fnatic, for example, Chick taking Dignitas. So there needs to a lot needs to happen for Team Liquid still having a shot there. Dignitas needs to beat Fnatic, then has to lose to Tricks. Fnatic themselves have to lose to Synergy on top of it too. So there's a lot of
a lot of choking needs to happen, and you don't normally think those are going to happen. So Team Liquid going to be praying for things to unfortunately happen for Fnatic and Dignitas in their matches.
Mind blown.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about.
It's amazing for Expert, of course. I mean, they have done so well here. The drafts on top of that too. Cassia on the last pick was really strong, and there's the entire setup that they had was very, very impressive to observe. Especially when you consider how we started in all of this. It was a clean victory of Team Liquid to start the day off with a great composition around Alarak, which was a great choice, and also, of course, then the Stitches.
Well, it sounds like we are getting ready for Kirsten to be on for the interview. We're going to hit him up about today's victory. I'm excited to see what he has to say for Expert, as Expert, again, has obviously been doing a lot of work here for the meta. And, you know, Kirsten, again, he's been playing pretty well as a support for this team. You know, you don't normally yell about him when it comes to talking about the best supports in the HGC, but when you're on the 4th place team, you are obviously doing your job well.
He's definitely improved a lot. I've been talking about this, I think, 2 weeks back quite a bit, that Kirsten has stepped up his game, and he was definitely a pillar also in these victories. He had a bit of a whiff Divine Storm once at the end. It was a zoning storm, it looked funny, but they already won that team fight. But he is definitely one of the guys that makes it happen for them. So impressive play by Expert overall. That was really well done, and I'm still... It's great that this happens. We always had these big 3.
Yeah.
Always those 3. And now all of a sudden, Expert says, yeah, it might not matter to the standings, but you know what? We're still going to take you down today.
And Expert, again, they beat Fnatic in a match that wasn't HGC a couple weeks ago. They now beat Team Liquid here. Now it's all about showing up against Dignitas at some point in the future. But really, they're starting to take a couple of check marks on that big box of taking out those top guys. And now suddenly there's this whole thought process of like Blade versus Abathur, and now that roster coming in there. Big decisions coming from Expert, but Abathur, these last 2 days, has been impressive for this team.
He's been on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what hero you threw it on, it looked amazing.
Yeah, that's one way to do a job interview. Oh, it sounds like Kirsten's actually in my headset right now. Kirsten, are we there? Thank you for joining us. Okay, I think we're going to be waiting for a second here as we get him set up and get the microphone checked out.
I'm hearing voices.
Yeah, I'm like hearing voices. Is that it, Kirsten? Thank you for joining us. Hello.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you, man?
Hi.
Congratulations. What do you think about your
feels-
victory against Team Liquid?
It feels really good to finally beat one of the top 3 teams now after having so many close series, especially since I got to do it with Tutor.
Yeah, incredible. I just want to talk to you about Abathur. Abathur has been fitting in for your team. What is the team thinking about him right now?
I mean, it's some good signs for sure, especially since we beat Liquid. But for now, our main focus is just gonna be to practice for the playoffs.
Okay, so speaking about the playoffs, this is going to be in a couple weeks here. You guys will definitely be in the playoffs as the 4th seed, no matter what it looks like. Are you vying for that 2nd spot, and do you guys think that you can take it?
Of course, we're aiming for it, and I think it's gonna be difficult, but it is for sure possible.
Awesome, man. Well, Curse, I'm going to send you over to Caldor.
Yeah, well, first of all, congratulations. It's pretty amazing that you guys have finally been able to pull it off. You've been talking in the first part of the season already how you want to take down the top 3, and now this is the first time that you achieved it in HGC. The one thing is, were you guys a little bit worried after the first map, after we saw on Tomb the Spider Queen, Team Liquid just show up and the double support comp not working out for you? Was that one of those things where the team was getting a bit nervous, or did you just say, okay, screw it, we have it from here on out?
I mean, mostly we got a bit outplayed in the first game, so we just thought that as long as we step up our game and keep doing what we want to do, then it will be fine.
You've been talking a bit about how you are very happy to make it work with Abathur on that last game there. Where do you see Abathur's position right now in the meta, considering that we're now leaning a lot more towards the double supports? Of course, our HGC patch has changed to the Genji patch. Where do you think Abathur fits at this point?
I mean, he for sure ain't the top tier support, but I think in certain comps he works just fine. As a show as well, he doesn't lack that much sustain as long as you have the right setup for it.
All right, thank you very much.
Well, Expert is going to be facing off against the Playing Ducks next. How are you guys going to get prepared for that match?
Well, for now, since it doesn't really matter for our playoff spots, we're gonna of course try to win, but we're gonna be preparing for that mostly.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to you guys playing in the playoffs. Congratulations in advance. And let's see, before you go, any shoutouts?
Well, of course, thank you to our sponsors for sponsoring us and the fans. And most importantly, hi, Mom.
Always got to call out the
Thanks.
mom. Congratulations to Expert. They got a massive victory today.